Good morning, viewers. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center in Africa and across in Nairobi. Good morning, Miriam.
A very good morning to you and good morning to our viewers and our panelists this morning.
Thank you very much, viewers. This is Social Africa, and I will leave it to Miriam to take over and engage, since all of us here are PR people, ask questions instead of us talking too many other things. Is the media in Kenya doing the job of a media as a fourth estate? Or has the media in Kenya become a rubber stamp? That is the question that is before us. Miriam has already dealt with in the morning with the situation in Kenya on the newspapers and the politics of the Republic of Kenya. The political temperatures seem to be high. People continue calling each other conmen, yet they are the worst conmen, refined conmen, who tell us that there is Harun Eyadin to build a factory in Uganda, which has now not even taken over, that the grass has grown over the stone that they duped His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, to build. So across the bridge, that is what it is. Social Africa looks at matters that affect us. We are brought here this morning so that we discuss what is going on with the media, main media in Kenya, in Africa. Do they really portray Africa? Does the media in Kenya portray Africa as Kenya as a good country? Or do we have the government being put on the last banner? Miriam, back to you. On the panel we have Sharon Gitonga, the legacy trend. We have special assignments editor Samuel Tawish Onisasana, all the way from Narok. And if you want to join us. The Zoom number is on our flyer, and we can discuss. Miriam, back to you in the general headquarters. I don't know whether it is my thing has fallen.
We can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you properly, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That is it. The media, let me open it up for you. The media, and then hand it over to Miriam. Quickly in 2 minutes. The Kenyan media seem to be a different type of media that I've seen. Either the editors themselves have different agenda, and the people in Africa, in Kenya, have a different agenda. You barely see good stories that give a human face, that encourages people to say they are doing something. I have watched the media in Zimbabwe, for example. Despite the difficulties that Zimbabwe faces, the media in Zimbabwe tries as much as possible to make sure that some things work, to show the roads, to show the infrastructure, to show the hospitals. I was watching a documentary yesterday on Zimbabwe. Another American came back, he gave money in 2014. When he came back to see how that money has been used, he even went through the hospitals to see whether there are patients of COVID-19 and how the doctors in Zimbabwe were handling these patients. Believe me or not, Miriam, it was a very exciting documentary. The people there are resilient. The journalists go deep to report on something which is very, very important to the community. But in Kenya, I have been watching It is like the editors call each other that this is the item we are going to pass on all television. I don't know, but maybe tomorrow when the media will also get our station, we might fall a victim of circumstances of that nature. But believe me or not, Miriam, I don't think you will fall a victim, because you will bring out things that affect Africa, that affects Kenya, that affects the local citizen at any place on the continent or in the globe as we move. Remember, we are a global village. Remember, the media is not even telling us to plant trees. The adverts that they bring on the mainstream are adverts for their own benefit. They are showing us how to bank. You see, look at the adverts. Bank in this bank. But bank what? Has an ordinary citizen got money? Miriam, I don't know whether you have huge money to bank. So what is the advert for banking for? Will it help you? Instead of somebody telling you, grow more cabbages. Because cabbages will take this cabbage to market and sell the cabbages, get the money, go and pay school fees for your children. But somebody to tell you, this is the bank, get this, get that. This is what is really happening in Africa. And I'm sorry to tell you that our Africa has reached a level, especially in Kenya, where the media has been, put under a scrutiny of a politician. Most of the media houses are in the politician's pocket. Let me take some hot water like Miriam and others, because at least you stabilize your throat. Thank you very much. I, as an investigative journalist, I find everything faulty in the Kenyan media. I have not seen one media that has actually impressed me. The mainstream media, the people either follow. I don't know how we shall do it. Back to you, media.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc, for that. Yeah, well, the advertisements we see running about banks and others, the media needs to pay their, they need the money, so they run advertisements from banks, from other institutions and all that for the services. So that is just part of the revenue they get as media houses. So a lot of issues, Tawish, that Doc has brought up. I don't know, what's your take on that as a journalist in this country?
Very well, thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu at our communication headquarters. Thank you to Dr. David Masanga from the Political Command Center, as well as, of course, Sharon Gitonga, and all our viewers who are watching this program. Indeed, Miriam, the role of the media has all along been in debate, and how they have remained objective in as far as shaping, of course, the public opinion also remains on the sharp focus. And I think the media will have to continually try as much as it can to remain objective. The media should try as much as it can to remain impartial when it comes to its reporting, whether it is in the electronic media, whether it is in the radio or even print media, so that by the end of the day, they may not be judged negatively. Because when you listen to Dr. David Masanga's submission, and I think this is what most people really feel, that perhaps the media in Kenya has fallen below par. It has fallen below the expectation of most people in as far as how it is carrying out its duties. They have monetized media. They have given economic fortunes credence more than any other thing. And that is why you see today they do not quite care about which kind of story that they highlight, which kind of story really comes to the headline, as long as it helps them really to foot the bills, as long as they are able to generate revenue out of the same, they're not so much keen on that. And that is why you see this, that of course, call and agitation from the stakeholders that perhaps there's something that the media really needs to do to remain impartial, to remain objective, because it is a very important component in terms of shaping the opinion in our society today. So I believe we cannot quite put a blanket condemnation on the entire media in the country. There are those media houses and media individuals who are doing their level best, at least, and there are those also who have at least also gone astray, or they have gone offline. And those are the ones we really want to be called back. They need to be reprimanded. They need to be reminded of their utmost call of duty to ensure that whatever kind of reporting, whatever kind of publication they do it with utmost decency and utmost objectivity, so that nothing is compromised in as far as what the public really consumes.
So when you say the others which have gone a bit off and all that, could you have a specific example of maybe a story that was carried out that was not proper, a specific example to just back up that claim?
Well, Miriam, you've seen, for example, there's what has been billed as sensational reporting. In fact, I think, was it yesterday, when one of the newspapers you quietly read out, actually indicating the tour of Deputy President William Ruto's in Raila Odinga's home turf of Nyanza region, as trying to get into the enemy's territory. And I think it was an argument that almost took all of our time during that particular program. And I think this kind of reporting is not necessarily intended for the people to get information as it should, but it is more of really trying to sensationalize reporting and make the papers, or to make these publications really sell. The issue is what intent, what is the objective of using such kind of headlines? That is the question, I think, that we are debating yesterday. And when you look into it, did we have any other options? Did we have other euphemisms that we could otherwise use, or even say a competitor's territory? For that matter, when you equate it as enemy, in fact, the people of Nyanza region, and particularly Kisumu, will be viewing Deputy President William Ruto as an enemy, not necessarily of Raila Amolo Odinga, but literally an enemy of the people of Nyanza. If Raila Odinga is visiting, say, for example, Eldoret or most parts of the Kalenjin nation, and you put such kind of a headline, then the people of Kalenjin nation will view Raila Odinga as an enemy, not of William Ruto in specific, but to the entire populace of the Kalenjin nation. So I think those are some of the loopholes. Those are some of the laggings that our media have actually overseen, and which should be called out, and they should be reminded really to stay to the correct lane, Miriam.
Okay, thank you. And we know that media has been very critical and has played a critical part when it comes to very important national conversations, and a lot of times setting the agenda and what the society is talking about. Sharon, you're also a media person. I don't know, how would you say the media in Kenya is doing as far as its role?
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I don't know if it's actually quite a correlation that you actually highlighted these yesterday during the morning conversation, and that is exactly what Tawish has highlighted. Maybe I could give another case of, I think the last, during the entire weekend, we had, a case of Alfred Mutua and, the estranged partner covering all the dailies for, I think, 3 days. And it actually got me wondering, have we actually exhausted, the real issues that actually cut across humanity and, the community at large? If I look at the case of we had a voter apathy, the issue of IEBC. I didn't see, so much being actually highlighted on the newspapers. Talk about, the COVID pandemic. There's so much very less that was actually covered on not just necessarily our dailies, but even if you look at electronic media. And at the end of the day, media actually plays such a vital role, and especially when it comes to creating awareness. So I think media has actually failed so much, largely for actually publishing information that doesn't necessarily cut across what is the national what is the interest of everyone at large. And it's quite unfortunate that they want to publish information for them to look relevant, information for them that is actually going to give sales. And also quite unfortunate that we have even politicians that have actually given out handouts and stipends largely for them to actually cover them, and or rather even make their opponents tint actually images of their opponents, which is quite unfortunate, because when we talk about media ethics and laws, they are not being upheld. This makes me wonder, what is the role of Media Council of Kenya? Why don't we see them actually putting up why don't we see them, talking about this and actually, putting like a stamp to these, media houses when it comes to print and electronic media. And not just that, I would also want to look at, social media, because I believe all these, by and large, is part of the media. And I think we also talked about, medias that we've seen people actually publish, malice, publish, wrong information without actually, getting back to, verifying the information. So in a nutshell, I think our media and us actually being, part of the media, we have, failed largely when it comes to, spreading information that is actually meant to tint an opponent a bad image, or actually not being able to put across information that cuts across humanity and national interest and the community at large. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I know you've alluded the story that you've been seeing unnecessarily making headlines, but we do have certain criteria they use to choose what is news. It's called the newsworthiness. There are about 7 points, 7 key things they look at, and one of them is prominence. So if a person is prominent, so they can make a headline. So that's why. But anyway, thank you, Doc. Back to you.
Miriam, you are talking that the prominence. They look at the things, 7 things.
Yeah, news. Yeah, in journalism.
I just want to understand. I want to understand that bit, because
there's something called newsworthiness, and there's 7 key things they look at for something to be considered a news item, and one of them is prominence. So if somebody is prominent, so they could make headline. So that's just journalism, yes.
Prominence. So, okay, celebrity. Someone is a celebrity, a prominent person, very high news. Then does the media? I don't see that happening in the studios in Sky News. Sky News in London, where journalism came from, where I used to work.
Boris Johnson cheated on the wife. That was not news. It was a headline for nearly a month.
I'm coming.
Because he's prominent.
I am coming there.
Yes.
You have said, I'm trying to bring you that as much as they said that Boris Johnson cheated on the wife, they also see a small girl who has fallen in the river, who is not Johnson, who is not the wife. That's what I'm trying to say, that we, in London, they balance. We took the subject of journalism from the British. None of us here knew what journalism was. They look at issues that are going, for example, they look at meters. There's a time they open the war on meters. When you park your car within 5 minutes, traffic lights, those cameras, even at times one of the cameras takes you when you are not even in. They were being tampered with. The government found out that the cameras were actually wrong. The government apologized. The media pointed out of doors. Someone goes. I want to ask you, Miriam. There were few journalists who used to do investigative pieces, who could go out and sleep in a place where they sell drugs. Do we still have those journalists? Students are banning schools in Kenya. Is there anybody, a journalist who was dressed as a student, admitted and gone to the dormitories to find out what is wrong with the school? Very few are doing it, Miriam. Very few. Yes, there is what we call sleaze in media. Is different from content that people want to see. A sleaze is a very good item. It's the item Miriam is talking of as a priority, or something called, you call it priority or whatever it is.
No, there are 7 elements of newsworthiness and prominence.
I would like to see the 7 elements. What are they? If you
have
if
impact,
you
we have time, we have proximity, we have human interest, we have conflict, we have things that are out of the ordinary, and so on and so forth.
Just out of the ordinary.
Yes.
For example, out of the ordinary.
Like if a man bites a dog, that is unusual, so that will be news. Although it's
But when a dog
bites a man,
bites a man,
it's normal. Yes.
Okay. Let's come back to the question of Kisumu, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Kisumu is part and parcel of Kenya. For you to tell Ruto that you are going to an enemy territory, there is no fighting around Kisumu. There is no fighting among the Luo people. They have not said we are fighters, so you are coming, or we have not. They have not been bought by anybody. They are free to listen. But for a media house of such prominence to stand up here and tell people that Ruto is in an enemy territory, that is part of instigation, incitement, and stereotyping. Stereotyping in the media is one of the causes that brings media platforms in Kenya and Africa to look for envelopes, khaki envelopes being given to them. You know, someone who said that boldly would say, there you are. Let's damage this. I want you to damage Ruto's entry. I want you to say, we have now gone to the enemy territory. Kenyans are not enemies. I don't think there are enemies in Kenya. There are people, voters, who might vote. Look, the media would have helped to advertise every day about elections, about registration. But until you pay 5 million shillings for an advert on registration, the IEBC cannot be shown on the platform. Now, Miriam talked about they need that money for their existence. That is why Africa, you and me, Miriam, tutabaki hapo hapo. Tutabaki hapo hapo. Let there be earthquake in a European country. I told you last year in October when I went home in London, I went to the church, Miriam. Believe me or not, and I want to share this experience which I shared with you, which I think people here don't do. And let's get it very correct. That is why we have different hearts and they have different hearts. When it came to time for offertory, I had carried my money, which God had given me, and I said, I will put it. When you enter, there is an envelope. You can pick the envelope. Nobody wants to know what you do with it. But because of COVID-19, there are vulnerable families. There are some families who have been locked up. There are people, refugees, and there are so many other people. Do you know that the priest told us that if you have food at home, in fact, let me tell you, I felt so sorry because it was the first time after almost 1 year, because of the COVID conditions, I did not travel to my church, I should have carried a lot of food that was in my house, dry food, because we are only 3 people at home. Myself, my last born daughter, and my wife. I saw people, because when I entered, I saw everybody coming with a bag. But I had already walked up to the church. I couldn't go back. There was nobody to drive and bring me the food, because everybody, I left them, having sleep. Now, that is the way things work here. They don't have discrimination. The church gives us food. And in the church, I didn't know there was a media man from the Sun newspaper. And he had put his camera. Now, in the evening, on BBC, local BBC, I saw myself and other people giving food. Then this journalist put a very nice story, said the British Hearts came out to give food to the needy families that need food at the moment, at the time of Corona. Miriam, how many of the journalists today in our country can sacrifice to look for such a story? If you tell a journalist to look for a story, there will be a lot of complications. First of all, the people who would want to be interviewed on the line would want money themselves. Before you are interviewed, they will want money that you are interviewing me. Miriam, the truth is, I am bringing this point because you said commercial adverts are for getting them money and a business.
Yes.
We don't have the second heart. What has happened to our second heart? How many of us here, Miriam, when you grew up, dad and mom had second hearts. They have 2 hearts. Dad and mom could not see a neighbor, children sleeping hungry. Dad and mom could not see a neighbor's child being beaten. Dad and mom could ask, are you all right? Miriam and Sharon and Tawish, you all live in this community. I want you to tell me frankly in your hearts whether your neighbor wakes up to say, how are you? I pose that question to you people. If you have a neighbor in Kenya who wakes up, I don't know, Tawish is quick coming on the screen, maybe the neighbor, your neighbor, and be honest, don't lie to me to convince the public. I want you to tell me whether your next neighbor or the one whose door faces you comes and says, hello, bwana, we uko sawa.
It never happens. In fact, usually even the greeting happens when you just meet along the stairs. That is the time maybe you say, hi, how are you? Even the neighbors, leave alone, you will not even know each other where we live, in the apartments where we live. Not that you know each of the neighbors really who you live around with. So that is the society you are living in, and that is the reality of the situation. So you are right, Dr.
Sharon.
Thank you very much. And it's quite unfortunate. I personally also didn't know my neighbor up until COVID happened, and everyone had to stay indoors. So it gave you more time to actually realize, okay, this is my neighbor. And it's actually quite unfortunate because we all got so busy with work and life. So you do not even have time to even know your neighbor. So it's quite unfortunate. Yeah.
So, is it your problem or it was their problem?
I think both of us.
It's a collective problem.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go slow. Miriam. We are not, this is a social Africa.
Doc,
We are not
I don't live in an apartment, so I don't know.
You don't live in you live in a house,
yes.
a bungalow.
Well, but I don't live in an apartment. So
No, but next neighbor of your fence, do you know her?
well, we are all locked in our own gates, so I don't know. It will take a lot of effort for you to go to the other house and knock and all that. So
You don't know your neighbor, surely. Okay, fine. All of you don't know the neighbor. Okay, I want to tell you where we went wrong and why we have gone wrong. And let's not be ashamed. And let's not pretend not to be part and a parcel of the global world. In London, it is a crime not to know your neighbor. A neighbor in London is very nosy. Maybe that's why some people in Africa don't want to be nosy. But everybody in London, Miriam, is nosy. I bet. Even when he opens the window and sees you dropping a cabbage, you know, you will feel ashamed of a local, an elderly woman of about 70 years old, saying, hey, please, sir, wait, please. You know, when you look back, you see this lady with a stick, saying, please, can you pick that tin, please, and put it here. There is this bin here, please. You feel ashamed. And that is the way. You people, the whole of this week, we have been looking at the behavior, the banning of schools. How do they come about? They come about because of the type of manners, behavior of us knowing who the neighbor is. They come about why even the terrorists live with us. Terrorists live with us. You live with a neighbor who is a terrorist. But you don't know that he's a terrorist until you see him on a newspaper or on TV. So we must begin to learn this particular social Africa show must bring in the community. The journalists, the media must go in and find out, help the state. Today the DCI is displaying pictures of 2 men, the most wanted people for terrorism, with a ransom of 10 million Kenya shillings. Let me ask you, why are we not helpful? If the community was helpful, if the media was helpful, these people could be caught. You think there's nobody in Kenya who doesn't know where those people are? But as you said, Miriam, you are here yourself. You don't want to know. You don't even know your neighbor. Tawish is here. I say, we meet on the stairs. Because some of the neighbors are even harsh when you say, hello, how are you? He can ask you, who are you? Why are you greeting me? Especially when you live with a Jamaican neighbor. He said, why are you greeting me? Did I ask you to greet me? In fact, you can be beaten for, if you are small like a Sharon, you can be beaten. But when he looks at a huge man like a Matanga, he said, let me wait twice before I try to tackle this guy. I'm telling you, they ask you, what is it? What's your problem? Why are you greeting me? Did I tell you to greet me? Or do you want to steal my car? He said, please, do I look like a thief? No. What language is that you're speaking? That is racial discrimination. There is a lot of racial discrimination in some of the places, but that is a subject for another day. Coming back to the media itself, these are some of the media houses should pick time also to have educative. I like mostly KTN. I'm very impressed with KTN, and I give a credit where it is. Medium KTN News they have very good programs, very educative programs. There is a gentleman by name Musumba. I think you have seen him, Musumba, for the culture. He goes to look for people. For example, people in this country don't know how to cook. They don't even know how to make a breakfast or lunch if they are left alone. If they are left alone. You see? So, you better, it's very, very important, Miriam, that the media, like KTN News, it does all the programs very well. Very well. And you can see they bring in students at school. I have liked that one. Not all the media are bad, but some of the media houses are really very, very, very dangerous as far as the media is concerned. Tawish, if you wish to make comments, there you are.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Masanga, and that is why you saw, or rather listen, in my previous submission, I did mention that there are media houses and media individuals who are really doing the decent job, a desirable one which needs a patting on the back. And I think you've gone to the extent of mentioning KTN News as one of it. And I think this is the way to go, because now if we want to make, broadcast to be more sensational, to be more of economic gain, and not really to educate people. We need programs that really educate people. We need societal issues. We need human interest stories. We need to see how we can be able to balance all this by the end of the day, and not only stories that, of course, pit communities against one another, or pit this politician against one another. We also need, programs that educate people, even on how they live, even how they interact, how a man and a woman can live in their homes, how a child and, of course, parents can be able to relate, how students can be able to relate with their teachers. And that is why you see today even our moral fabric and our decency is completely being lost, because we have completely deviated and put all our focus and minds on making economic fortunes or making money other than that which really matters to our society. I think that is where we need to go back and really ask ourselves, what is it we can do as media so that we can be able to promote the right attitude, we can be able to promote the right culture, we can be able to promote that mindset of good interaction amongst our people in the society. So, Dr. Masanga, I think it's a tall order. It's a very big challenge on part of us as the media, but it's not something that we can't quite overcome, because not that the media have completely been drained, but I think if we can remind them to get back on track, then I think something good can quite come from these media houses. But as you rightly put it, like for example today, if you were to ask, people go and listen to Deputy President William Ruto. I'm just giving an example. They listen to him when he's making the promises to the people of Kenya that perhaps if you elect me, this and this is what I'm going to do. But do you ever hear even the media or even those people who print or write in the newspapers really put to task and ask the deputy president, you promised people this, did you deliver? You promised a million jobs in a record 1 year, but ever since you came into office, you've just been but concentrating on your presidential ambition. You promised to make sure that there will be no child who will die of hunger in this country. How many people do you have today dying of hunger in this country, leave alone a child? There are so many people who are dying of hunger today. What is it in terms of policy has he ever done? The brags of having about 150 MPs who are allied to him or to UDA party, why can't he initiate some bills that can go a long way in alleviating the problems that some people face in several parts of the country? So, Dr. Masanga, we cannot quite rise up to the challenge and ask these politicians even pertinent questions. So when he says, I'm going to give 1 million or 4 million jobs, yes, that is what the media goes and says, Ruto has said he will do this. But they cannot go back into the history and understand what is it that he has done. When he says, I want to unite the whole country, when Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta have been so much keen on the unity of purpose, the man has been destroying any initiative, any endeavor to unite this country. But he's coming out and saying, when you elect me, I'm the man who is going to represent the face of Kenya. and unite each and every part of this country. So, Dr. Masanga, this is a very big challenge that we need really to rise to the occasion. I submit, Dr.
Thank you very much. And Miriam, we have talked about the challenges. We have talked about the failures of the media. Can we see now introduce obstacles the media faces? For example, what are the obstacles? Let's change the coin. What are the obstacles? What does the media, what does a journalist like you, Tawish, what does a journalist, a PR lady like you, Madam Yitonga, yourself, Miriam, you're a journalist, long time serving journalist and anchor. What do you face in the newsroom? Are there obstacles? What challenges? What can be done? How can we help in making sure that everything that you are doing is workable?
Oh, we start with me?
Yes. No, I'm sending it back to you.
All right.
To ask for the challenges.
So maybe
I'm not saying you. Yes.
I don't know if I want to speak about my challenges here right now, but maybe
No,
Sharon.
Medium, please. I am one of those people that might point fingers out for having not for the challenge. I am not the challenge, but I at least I've tried to.
I did not mean it like that, but I'm just saying the challenges for journalists are general. So perhaps we start with Sharon and then we go to Tawish.
Okay, Miriam. Thanks for that question in Dr. Matsanga. But before I answer that question, maybe if I can answer to what Tawish was actually alluding to, and especially where Dr. Matsanga talked about culture, and I feel like this is something that has been shelved off, especially when it comes to media. You realize, we're actually talking about globalization, and you realize how much globalization has actually caused and started a negative impact when you talk about, because you realize we have actually lost cultures due to interpenetration of different cultures. So we have lost our unique culture to a unique globalized culture. As we speak, I am sure some of us or some of our children cannot even be able to talk, they cannot even be able to express themselves in their own native culture. So you realize that if we can have different media stations actually trying to highlight and highlight different cultures, highlight different languages, it's actually going to play actually going to play a vital role. Coming back to the issue of how media has actually adversely affected negatively, especially to us. Okay, I do not want to have worked before in a media station, and I think one thing that was actually odd for me is the fact that there was feminism, and especially you being a woman, you realize that their activities, rather their roles that are believed to be known for men. When you talk about you being like a videographer or an editor, it has been a culture, and this actually trickles down to what I've been talking about culture. There's a culture that this role is meant for a man. So even in the political sphere, you realize that this is a space that has been owned by men. So when you as a woman, you come up, strongly in that space, it causes a stir, and especially to the people who have already envisioned that as this is not your space, you do not belong here, please go and look for an alternative space, which is quite unfortunate. So for me, I think feminism is something, and especially being a woman, I feel like it has put us at a backstop where we are not able to
hold on. Feminism means empowering a woman and allowing women to have equal opportunities. So I don't know how that will negate the progress of women.
So in this case, I mean,
it promotes the progress of women in every sphere. So in
this case, it does not promote feminism, if I can put it if I can put it, across that you find that.
I think
Maybe I suppose it's more of a male chauvinism.
Yeah,
Let me
male
come in
chauvinism is the right word there.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And sexism also, I think.
Are we
yeah.
talking about male chauvinism?
Yeah, and sexism.
Yeah. Why can't we use the word chauvinism?
Yeah.
Where men think that they are the only ones who can hold the camera and run around. Tawishi thinks she is the only masterman who can actually report live from Kisumu. You saw the other day. He does, and when you see a lady, for example, in the Kenyan media, I always look at people who are very outside broadcasting units like Jamtai Goni. Look at her voice, coming all the way from wherever she is. Rita, is it Rita Tinina?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, such a lady. There's another one. There's another very good voice that comes.
But
Jamila.
Yeah, but Doc, you see, when you're giving such very good examples, I think Kenyan media has really grown in that regard, that the women journalists have been allowed a space to express, to share their skills, and to be professional. So I think we've really done much to open up the space for women journalists. Even if you go to the the technical bits, also you'll find women. I know a lot of media houses. I've worked in a couple where I've seen a lot of women producers. I've seen a lot of women camera people. I've seen a lot of women doing the technical part. So I think the Kenyan media has evolved. There's still a bit of work to be done, but compared to other media in this region, I think we are evolving and we are becoming better. And I think women they do have a bigger platform. However, there are issues of that Sharon has mentioned of sexism. Because you're a woman, so somebody thinks they can just talk to you whichever way and address you in whichever way. Instead of looking at you as a professional. So I think that is a problem. And also chauvinism that, some Tawish, that is still a challenge that we have to overcome. But so far, I think women are doing really well in this field of journalism in this country.
Thank you very much. I think we really have crossed over that bridge of discriminating women at work. If you look at agencies that work across Kenya Airways and other institutions, women hold key positions. They don't fear. They feel the women are the general managers. The women are. It is all over across. But in the media industry, I agree with you. Women have done very well. Those examples, Chemtai Goni, Jamila, the lady from Citizen, when she's reporting on a story, Lulu, you see the way they report when they used to be reporters outside doing. We need more of that. But there is another one who goes for culture on women. There is a show. There are shows that, let's say, that help economic small enterprises in the villages. Those are the type of things the media in Kenya should be looking for. But we are looking for a big story, as Miriam put it, going back to the opening statement she made of if you are prominence.
Mm-hmm. Prominence.
We look for prominence. We look for the Deputy President William Ruto. We look for Raila Odinga. We look for, of course, we have to look for the President of the Republic of Kenya, my friend Uhuru Kenyatta. Mm-hmm. We have to look for him because he's the head of state. But you see, most of the media nowadays run for those people. We look for Mudavadi. We look for Kalonzo. We don't even weigh what Kalonzo is going to say. But once we hear Kalonzo has called a press conference, you will see how border borders will be running around the town. Tawish will even leave the notebook back because he's running to record what Kalonzo is saying. Mm-hmm. So these are some
but of Daktari, there are things you can't quite, you will appreciate that you cannot quite run away from. For instance, today, if Kenyan media or even the media in Africa, and sometimes I even see globally, when people are talking about anything about ICC, maybe about the Office of the Prosecutor and such kind of things, normally you are an authority of reference, and I see people running to you to get your opinion on matters ICC.
Let me bring it back, and I owe an explanation from my
Yes.
staff. My staff. We have been running for 6 years. Have we bought a bicycle for any disabled person? We have been, no, I'm just bringing it today. I am trying to justify these 2 hearts which the British have, that the leftover food is not thrown. The leftover food is given in a church to be sent to Salvation Army truck, which came and collected to take to people, needy families. We have been running this show for 7 years now. And I apologize to myself. None of my staff, I have most of you, I wish you know, from 40 up to the number we have not even given one bicycle to any needy person.
So, Doc, we should hold you accountable since you are our boss.
I knew Miriam was going to say that, but I should not. You should hold my general manager, Mr. Stephen, accountable.
Okay.
You
So
should you yourself.
and then Stephen.
No, you should be the people starting this project and say
us
you want to help one student going to school.
Mm-hmm.
We have not done. We get our salaries every month. Yes, but I think if you stop the person when he's getting the salary on that day, one person can even injure your eye. So so let's start thinking now. And the media now should go into stories that can, what do we call them? A stimulus. Something that can stimulate the impact, the sensitize the public that there is a need to share, but not stories that always call Kisumu an opposition.
They call the human interest stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
You call Kisumu. What do they call Kisumu? Enemy territory. Surely, in enemy territory, in Kisumu, Kisumu has not got guerrilla rebel leaders. Kisumu has got human beings. So if Ruto is going to address a conference in Kisumu, it is his right. He's a Kenyan, and the people of Kisumu have a right to hear. But when a media house comes to call it a rebel, an enemy territory, that is where we begin fighting. And if we don't start talking, Miriam, we shall fight. We better start talking about these issues on Africa, social Africa. I think, thank you very much. We have been on a time on the trail. I want to thank you all. This is Punchline Africa, Social Africa show coming next tonight at 7 p.m. East African Standard Time. Dr. David Matsanga Africa Perspective. I am going deeper and deeper, and I think I wish you have said I've become a voltage. I'm going deeper and deeper on the war on Ethiopia. Now this time I'm going to shock you. I want to tell you, to show to you the 9 names of those that the United States of America has selected to take over Ethiopia. One by one, I'll show you. I've gathered the intelligence network. My wires have received them. It is sad, Medium. So don't miss that show at 7 p.m. East African Standard Time. Matsanga Africa Perspective. What do we do as Africans to stop wars on the continent? Thank you very much. When you have time, there you are. I will still remain very open for discussions on this role of the media, obstacles they have, stations, managing directors. I know Miriam has spared me today, but she will harass me that I needed to change the studio. She has been telling me that I have to change the format of the studio. I will be doing so, madam, very shortly. and I will be coming to do a few things together. So don't tell the public. Keep quiet until we meet in the boardroom up there. Thank you very much. Take care, all of you across the world, across in Zimbabwe. The media has done very well, and it's brought up what Zimbabwe wants: the good roads, the good hospitals. By the way, there are no patients in hospitals for COVID-19 in Zimbabwe.
Even here, Doc, we are doing very well.
No, here.
We've really improved. Yeah, like the numbers have gone really low.
Yesterday, we didn't
have any deaths.
We have not lost any patient.
Yes. So that's some good news. Mm-hmm.
Then it is becoming endemic.
Yeah.
Be careful with this. That's what Modi of India thought, that the things were okay and India had medicine. Mm-hmm. With this type of rallies where Ruto and Raila and others are running, including that Bishop Mudavadi, you know, it can cause a lot of problems. It could come back, maybe I'm under shockers. Me, I am not in that. My mask and the media, my mask is always on. When I went to London and I flew to Scotland, also came back to London, I saw so many people not wearing masks. But David Masanga, my mask is on, because I am told this thing looks for people who are above 58. And seriously, I want to protect myself. My daughter was telling me when we went in a train the other time in October, she said, Dad, you can see the heat in the train and everybody is breathing, you know. I said, you know what? This is the last train I'm using today. We go upstairs and collect our car and we drive. I did not want to be in the underground. So keep on your mask, keep washing your hands. Thank you very much, folks. This is Social Africa. This station is for Africa, by Africa, with Africa. Ciao. Thank you.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.